I have a couple of interviews, so if you hear them say your grandpa or your relative, they're referring to me. Finding out my family history was fun. I went searching for people in cemeteries and I found some lady named Elizabeth Birgy. I didn't know who she was, and then I got a packet from a family member, and she actually died picking huckleberries. My Aunt Alicia told me about Dolly and how she had researched Birgy family history. I interviewed Dolly and got a ton of information from her, and then she told me about Terry Birgy. Terry had a scrapbook full of Birgies, and it had a bunch of pictures with their description, and it was really cool that I could put a picture to their name so that I knew who they were. And then I got to interview her and find out even more.
It used to be you could find out stuff on the internet, but now you have to pay to get in like the Ancestry.com and Roots Web, where you didn't used to have to. Then basically I just followed the people from Grandpa Joe's family.
I love learning about family history because I feel it's very important to know where you came from, at least to pass it on down. Otherwise, we'll forget and we just exist, you know. But for the most part, I started out by asking my parents, and then, of course, they directed me to their parents, and we just started getting into major family discussions. I teamed up with Dolly, and she had a lot of information. And again, I didn't realize she was doing the same thing that I was doing, only, I mean, she comes from the main Birgy family, the big part of it where I kind of come from, the younger version, if you will, because my grandfather was a baby, you know. And then again, different websites and stuff that kind of helped me, you know, narrow in dates and things like that. So, and my grandpa was a really huge help on that, and when I started asking him certain questions, he'd be like, well, I don't remember, ask Durwood. But I never got that chance. But as I was asking him, he would start remembering different things. So, like I said, just wanting the knowledge myself, knowing that I want to pass it on down to my children and my nieces, nephews, whoever's interested in learning about it. It's something that if we keep it going, people will really know, and it's a valuable thing to have. So, just talking to people. Well, this is John Birgy. It is him and his wife and their 5 kids that came over here from Germany. He's pictured here with Eugene Birgy, which is my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and he was the baby. He was a year old when he came over here from Germany with his folks and his siblings. Now, John married Elizabeth Swiller in Mielhaus, Germany, which is now French territory because it's in the Alsace-Lorraine territory. And they came over here, it is said, that they wanted to escape the warring zone going back and forth between France and Germany over this territory here. It is now French territory, and it was in basically the late 1800s, and they had 5 children. They had Anna first, and then Joseph, and then they had John, Mary, and Eugene. And again, he's pictured right here. They settled in the Walton Junction area first, and then they kind of moved about the Garfield Township area. So Joseph was the oldest son of John and Elizabeth.
He worked for the stock markets, for one thing. I mean cattle, you know, when I say stock. Mm-hmm. Stockyards and stuff like that. And what he did, evidently he was in the union, and that was when probably unions were first starting up. And that was kind of a touchy thing to be in. And he was trying to organize a union into the stock, you know, in that part of it. Yeah. And so then he moved back here. And that's where he met his wife. And he stayed, Grandma Wagner, Grandma Wagner had 2 bars in Chicago. And they had apartments over one, and Joseph Birgy, stayed at that apartment, and that's where he met his wife. And he worked in the stock market, and it got kind of mean, I guess. And so he moved back here to Michigan. Oh. But he lived in Michigan before that.
But him and Catherine, they had 10 children.
This is Grandma Birgy. This is Grandpa Birgy. This is their son Joe, Mary, Jim, Aunt Ruth. This is Leo Birgy, that's yours. This is my dad, and this is Uncle Derwin.
This is their kids. This is John, and he died in World War I. Joseph was next, then Mary, then Eugene, Theodore, also known as Ted or Teddy, then Leo, which is your grandfather, great-grandfather, and then Ruth, and then Otto, and then the two that I don't have pictures of are James and Durwood.
Or Brittany, through her family tree. It would go her, me, Ken, my dad Al, as far as the Birgies. I'm asking.
Then his
Then it'd
dad
go
Leo. And then Leo to Joseph.
Then Leo to Joseph.
And Joseph to John.
Joseph to John, and John was part of the family that first
Came from
over
Germany.
and came straight to this area.
Yeah.
At one point in time, a Birgy has lived in just about every house on this road.